Good morning, everyone. Welcome. We're glad you're here. And last week I asked people about the temperature, but what I've been hearing this week is it's the same everywhere. It's just 90, 85 or 90 everywhere. So I won't ask you that today. All right. We're glad you're here. It's not too late to invite someone and have them join us. All right. So welcome. It's the top of the hour. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're so glad you're here. Welcome to the most lucrative and rewarding. I'm not exaggerating, and I'm not just saying that this because it's on the slide. Agency model business ever developed in the United States, where you can earn as much as $1,000 a day or more. That's an approved statement, by the way, by helping others begin their financial freedom journey. So, who here thinks that more people could use financial freedom? Would you say that if you took a poll, that most people you ask would say, yes, I am living in financial freedom? We know that they wouldn't say that. And so, what are we doing? We're solving America's affordability crisis. And too many Americans still, when we know we have the solution, right? Too many Americans are drowning in debt. They lack sufficient income to thrive in today's economy. We're solving both of these issues and so much more, right? Raise your hand if you're here and you already know that this thing is life changing. It's been life changing for you, right? We'd love to see some emojis, some engagement in the chat. Thank you, Lynn, for raising your hand. Thank you, Felton and Diane. Okay, and so what is this slide about? This is something to celebrate. See the red, white, and blue. We've been celebrating the 250th birthday of our great country all month and before. And this is what we're able to say, right? And so many times when we show people their results and their free financial analysis, some people are skeptical. They're worried about scams. They're worried about things being too good to be true. But our company, United Financial Freedom, we've been in business over 22 years, and this is what we've achieved already. So we currently have 10.8 billion with a B dollars of debt under management inside Money Max accounts. That means we're helping Americans tackle $10.8 billion of principal debt, not even counting the interest. This very week, we added via new clients $7.6 million of additional debt that's going to get knocked out thanks to the Money Max account. Our clients have already paid off 2.9, getting very close to 3 billion, right? $2.989 billion of consumer principal debt of all types: mortgages, car loans, student loans, credit cards, you name it. We deal with it. And this week, our clients, wow, let's give a hand clap for this, paid off $3.216 million in consumer principal debt. So this is a reason to celebrate. We do have the answer for financial freedom and independence here for Americans. And so you'll want to take notes this morning. You'll want to keep in mind who you know that this would help. And we just thank you again for joining us. Lynn, take it away. You do awesome all the time. We appreciate you sharing with us today.
Thank you so much, Marty, and welcome everybody. Good morning. I am super excited to share what we're about to share with everybody this morning. And Marty, you always do such a great job of welcoming and introducing. Thank you so much. Friends, what Marty just shared with you is really just the beginning of this journey that you're going to go on with us here this morning. And after this journey, and it's going to be about roughly a 45, maybe 50-minute journey, I believe you're going to get as excited as we are. I believe you're going to see it and understand it and want to be part of what we're doing because, friends, as Marty mentioned, it is life-changing. We're going to share with you how to unlock the power of your cash flow or the power of the Money Max Pro. This is an illustration, and this is really just kind of an average client. This is not our best client. This is not the best results, certainly not the worst either. It's just really kind of right in the middle. It's an average American family, and you're going to see that you might have some similarities with this average American family as we go through this demo here this morning. This is Brad and Cindy Johnson, and they began their Money Max journey with United Financial Freedom in September of 2023. And at that particular time, they had about $1,000 in their checking account. They had about $5,138.89 in their savings. You'll notice that that's a high yield savings account. Pretty hard to find that high of an interest rate right now, but back in 2023, that was pretty common. I think right now it's right around 4%. And yes, friends, they're out there. If you do a simple Google search, you can find multiple different outlets that are offering a high yield savings account. VioBank happens to be one of them. I believe right now VioBank is at 4%. Now, the other thing you'll notice here on the screen is that when Brad and Cindy began, they've got a property there that's valued at that time. 479,000 is probably valued much more than that now because it's been a couple of years at least since they began this journey. Actually, almost 3 years. We're coming up on their 3-year anniversary mark. Now, when they began, they had some debt. It wasn't just the mortgage. They had other consumer debt, just like most American families have. They had an American Express card, an auto loan, a MasterCard, student loan, and a Visa. You can see what the annual percentage rate is on each one of those debts, the balance, the monthly payment, when it's due, and then on the credit cards, it also shows how much is still available should they need it, about 80,000 total of consumer debt. And as we mentioned, they had a home that was valued at 475,000 when they got started, but that's because they put down a really nice, big, hefty down payment. And even with that, they still had a principal balance on that home of 389,900. Now, that mortgage, as you already probably know, is a 30-year mortgage, and the monthly payments, $2,837.65. So we've got 3 credit cards, we've got a car loan, we've got the mortgage. Total debt for Brad and Cindy, $469,936.07. How long is it going to take Brad and Cindy to get out of debt if they didn't have the Money Max? If they just did things the traditional mainstream American way, how long would it take them to get out of debt? Yeah, 30 years, right? That mortgage is 30 years. And even if you do the old bi-weekly or whatever they call it, yeah, you're still only going to save about maybe 6 to 7 years at the very best, trying to do it on your own. Well, look at the Money Max. This dashboard right here is telling Brad and Cindy, guys, you're not going to be in debt 30 years. You're not going to be in debt 20 years. It's not even going to be 15 or 12. You're going to be debt-free in 10 years. And by the way, you're going to save $337,028. I want to just pause there for a minute, friends. What could you do with $337,000 in your pocket instead of the bank's pocket? What could you do with that? Interesting question, right? I really want you to consider that. What could you do with $337,000 in your pocket that you didn't have to pay to the bank? Now, here's the next thing I want to show you. If Brad and Cindy followed the traditional path that most people follow, making their minimum monthly payments every month, maybe putting a little bit extra on a credit card here and there, and just kind of shooting from the hip, so to speak, they were on track to pay $491,706 of interest on top of the $469,000 of principal. Do you realize that's 104.63% interest? Do you realize that's the banks and the lenders collectively wanting Brad and Cindy to pay them back almost $1 million, $961,426, even though their principal debt is $469? Think about that for a minute. Do you feel really good about that? Do you feel good about handing that much additional money to the banks and the lenders in interest? Well, friends, I'm going to tell you that money could be working for you instead of the bank. Now, here's the rest of their picture. At the time they got started, Brad was making about $1,950 semi-monthly, but that's the take home, the net, by the way, after taxes. Cindy's bringing home about $2,250, and the combined income is about $8,400 a month. You can see that they've got some of their expenses itemized, some are non-itemized. And that's the beauty of the program. You can set it up however you want to. You can itemize everything right down to the dollar every month, or you can unitemize, or you can do a combination thereof. You can set it up however you want, however you normally run your household and run your budget. Now, you'll also notice that they're spending $27.55 a month just in household living expenses. But when you bring in their debt payments, that takes the total of $65.73 every month that's going out the door. So they're bringing in $8,400, but they're spending about $65.73.13 every month. Not a lot left over, right? One of the reasons this program works so brilliantly and so powerfully, and there's many, 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 many reasons, but one of the reasons it is so brilliant and so powerful is not just the dashboard, not just keeping you on track and showing you where you're at any given time, but it's also works really, really well because of what we call the offset account. Now, I already shared with you, Brad and Cindy had a high yield savings account when they got started. That high yield savings account is what we call an offset account. So that's an account where you can just literally save the money you need to each and every month, the money that the program tells you to set aside and save. And that money is actually working for you because it's earning interest. And that could be a high yield savings account. It could be a high cash value life insurance product. Now, maybe it could be an account that's not earning interest, but it's still going to benefit you in a big way. And that would be a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, or a business line of credit, or a personal line of credit. There's many multiple options, and there's one that fits everybody. Almost everybody can get a checking and high yield savings account. There's very, very, very few restrictions on those, obviously. So anybody and everybody can benefit from this. And here's what the program does. It puts together a customized action plan for each individual family that's based on that offset account, but it's also based on how every one of your debts are structured. Friends, you may not be aware of this, but interest is not charged the way you think it is. I'm going to show you more of what I mean about that in a moment. But interest is not charged the way you think it is. You could have a credit card that charges 9% interest. You could have a car loan at 9% interest. You could have a mortgage at 9% interest. And the amount of interest you're going to pay on each one of those loans, substantially different, hugely different. You could have two credit cards that both charge 21.99% interest. The amount of interest you're actually going to pay depends on the bank and how they're structuring that. So here's the beauty of the Money Max. It analyzes every debt and it literally figures out exactly how each debt is structured. Then it looks at all of the other debts and combines everything. It looks at your expenses, your income, and it mathematically computes the fastest way to zero and the most amount of savings possible. And it puts it all together in a very simple, easy to follow action plan. Guys, you don't have to be a mathematical genius. You don't have to understand all of the factorial math and all the algorithms and all the formulas and everything behind the scenes. All you need to do is follow an action plan. Pretty simple, right? Now let's take a look at Brad and Cindy's action plan. You'll notice one of the first things that's shown up here, these double red lines, is saying, Brad and Cindy, you're going to need to move $186.82 from savings to checking to avoid an overdraft in the checking account. Well, that's a good thing, right? Checking account overdraft fees, those are pretty pricey. I don't know if you've overdrafted anything in the checking account lately, but man, they hit you with some exorbitant fees if that happens. So that's a good thing. And again, why is the money sitting in savings and not checking? Why do they have to move that? Because they're earning interest in that high yield savings account. Now, the next thing I want to point out to you is that when they make their very first mortgage payment, they just moved into this home, they're making their very first mortgage payment. The mortgage payment is $2,837.65. And if I hover my mouse over that, it pops this little bar up that says, guys, after you make your mortgage payment, your new balance is going to be $389,511.85. I'm going to bring my calculator in because I want to show you how crazy the bank's math is. They started with a balance of $389,900. They're making their first payment of $2,837.65, and the bank says your new principal balance is $389,511. Friends, that means the bank is only crediting their account $388.15. Out of $2,800, the bank credits them $388. Have you ever wondered why you feel like you're on a treadmill in your financial life while you're running as hard and fast as you can and working as hard as fast as you can, and you just can't get ahead? Yeah, because the banks and the lenders are taking the bulk of your payments and calling it profit or interest. Let me show you what I mean. This is an actual loan estimate closing disclosure. This is one of our clients. And when they started their journey, they had a mortgage balance of 395, 126. Look how much interest the bank is tacking on top of that. Well over a $500,000 of interest, $563,000. Friends, how long would it take you, maybe your spouse, if you're both working, how long does it take you to earn $563,000 just to give it to the bank in profit? That's insane. I'm sorry, but that's just flat insane. Look at the total payback. And this is what Americans are doing every day, and very few even realize it. I told you, interest is not calculated the way you think. Look what it says right here on this legal document. This is the legal loan estimate closing disclosure for this family. It says annual percentage rate or your costs over the loan term expressed as a rate. And then it says, but this is not your interest rate. Wow. They advertised APR. They promoted APR. They talked to us about, we're going to get you the best APR possible, the best interest rate possible, but that's not my interest rate. Well, if that's not my interest rate, what is? Yeah, they call it the tip. Banks have a really wicked sense of humor, don't they? Total interest percentage. That's the tip you're going to pay the bank. And yeah, by the way, that's 130.58%. Friends, if that doesn't make you just angry or sick to your stomach, you're not paying attention. Because it's not just mortgages, it's car loans, truck loans, boats, RVs, student loans. If you really understood how much interest you're paying to the bank every month, and it's not buying you anything, you would absolutely be sick to your stomach. In fact, I would encourage you to get back to the person that invited you and ask them to run a free savings report, because it's going to show you how much interest you're paying every month that you probably are not even aware of. This is the second example I want to share with you this morning. This family borrowed $281,000. They got what they considered a whammy deal, 3.55 APR. They thought they'd hit the lottery with that, right? But they're still paying $176,000 of interest. And believe it or not, they're actually not paying 3.55. They're actually paying 59.26% interest. Friends, how long do you want to play that game with the banks? It's your money. How long do you want to continue playing that game with the bank? Now back to Brad and Cindy. It's telling them exactly what to do, when to do it, in the exact amount, right to the penny, that makes the most mathematical sense for them. This is going to get them out of debt as fast as possible, save them as much money as possible. And I'm just going to show you 3 months, because I want you to understand how simple this is. They're putting money when the program tells them to. They're putting money into that high yield savings account. And then when the program says, okay, now you've got enough in that high yield savings account, or maybe it's a high cash value insurance account, whatever it is, you can now draw against that or draw that out and use that money to pay off debt. And the program is going to identify which debt, when, and exactly how much to save you the most amount of money. So it tells them take 191508 and pay off the American Express. Guys, that saves Brad and Cindy $2,608 of interest. They don't have to pay the bank. Then it tells them take 1876.87, pay additional principal to the Visa. That's going to save them another $2,786 of interest. They don't have to pay on the Visa. We roll into October. You'll see that it's prompting them to move some more money from checking to savings, take advantage of that high yield savings account, even if it's only a week or a day or a month or whatever it is. That's earning them money in the process, and every penny counts. Nothing unusual going on the rest of October. We get into November, and once again, we've got enough money built up in that savings account that now we can start really wiping out some more debt. This month, it's going to tell Brad and Cindy, take $2,700.32, pay off your MasterCard. That's going to save you another $4,276 of interest. You don't have to pay MasterCard. Then circle back and finish paying off the Visa, $225.72. That's going to fully pay off the Visa card, saves you another $21 in interest. And then take 906.22 and pay additional principal on your mortgage, again, right to the penny. And that additional principal on the mortgage saves them another $4,452. Friends, in these first 3 months, and then at the end of November, it has them moving another 87.87 from checking to savings. In these first 3 months, Brad and Cindy have already saved over $14,000 in interest. I'm glad that you're applauding that, Marty, because that is huge. That's in 3 months. Marty, I'm going to pause here if you don't mind, and I'm just going to let you just jump in and share whatever you'd like to share of how it's working for you and your family and some of your clients, and then we'll continue.
Well, what comes to mind is maybe just highlighting some of the other features of this program. And so, um, my family, we started using this as debt-free people, understanding that if we had had this program before compared to our do-it-yourself plan, we would have saved so much more money in interest. We would have gotten out of debt much faster, and we would have been on track to build more wealth much sooner. And so I'm here because I want to help people do better than what we had done so far. And we got our kids on board as well. So our adult kids are using MoneyMax so that they can hopefully beat us, right? And so, but what I love about using it, even as a debt-free person, is, well, I should say I do have a debt. I have some 0% credit cards, right? So I'm using MoneyMax to make sure I don't pay any interest on those credit cards. I'm using the strategy called Float, which is just one of the many banking algorithms inside the program that help us bank more like a bank, right? It's doing my business bookkeeping for me, as well as my husband's business bookkeeping, right? So in about the 15 minutes a week that we log in and use this program, our books are done. We have clarity about where we're at. We can forecast future purchases and future financial decisions and know the impact of them before we even do them. That is something that I have not seen anywhere else. This is the maximum. You know, if you had an option to get out of debt and you've got three options, good, better, best, which one do you want? Do you want the one that's the most mathematically precise? It's going to save you the most time and money getting out of debt, right? And so that's what this is doing. And it's we use the Account Connect feature. And so our bank and credit card accounts are automatically reconciled as we use the program. And did anyone else like me sit at the kitchen table and reconcile the checkbook because your spouse wanted you to, and it took forever, right? And so I love using this program, and I love that I'm accomplishing so much just in a few minutes. For me, it's like 2 minutes a day. I log in and execute my actions, and I just find us making better financial decisions because we have so much more clarity about where we're at. And so Lynn has hardly mentioned the wealth department, but that is the missing piece that we all need to take a look at for sure, because that's how we're going to fulfill our financial potential, not just get out of debt in record time. And so I love everything about it. The last client that we helped yesterday is saving $96,000 and getting out of debt in 6 years instead of 27, right? So every day we get to help people, and it's new to them and it's exciting, and I get to see them thinking about different possibilities for their future because they've learned something that they didn't know was possible. So thank you, Lynn, for walking us through it. And that's just a tiny snippet of how much fun we're having here.
Thank you, Marty. Appreciate that very much. And she's right. When you add in the wealth component, we can actually help you, friends, not only get out of debt very rapidly, but potentially use the same dollar twice, once to build your wealth in your retirement and once to get out of debt. How would you like to use the same dollar twice? Friends, that's legal. How do you think the wealthy are getting wealthy? Because they know the secret of infinite banking, and the MoneyMax is going to guide you through that process. with a high cash value insurance contract. It's pretty awesome what we can do. But back to Brad and Cindy, Marty mentioned the features and the benefits. I want to go into a couple of more of the features and benefits, and she's right. We're really only scratching the surface here in this presentation. This will do so much more than we're able to show in the amount of time we've got. But I want to show you one of the other features and benefits I love about the MoneyMax. You can literally decide what your future looks like. Let me tell you what I mean. Brad and Cindy are looking at their budget one day and they're deciding, what if we were able to save a little bit of money that we're currently spending? What if we stopped going to Starbucks every day? What if we got rid of a storage unit that we've had for 4 years and we don't even remember what's in there? What if we just trimmed and tweaked our budget a little bit? So they did that and they're able to save $150 a month. That takes their expenditures from $1,700 on the unitemized category down to $1,600 a month. What's that going to do for Brad and Cindy? Now they're going to be out of debt in 9.6 years. Now their new payoff is April the 20th of 2033, and they're going to save $340. $343,340. That's pretty awesome for just a little tweak in the expenses, right? That's when they decide, we really need to be introducing this to other people. If we went out and got serious and just helped one family a month, it would really only take us about 3, maybe 4 hours a month to do that. And that would earn us an extra $1,000 after we get through the training portion of the comp plan. And I'll show you that in a few minutes. So they decide they're going to go out and help one family a month on a part-time basis and earn that extra $1,000 a month income. What does that do for Brad and Cindy? That's now going to take them down to 7.8. Now their new payoff date, look at that, June the 5th of 2031, they're now going to save $372,797 that they don't have to pay the bank. That's real money, friends. That's real money. Money that they get to keep in their hands instead of giving it to the bank unnecessarily. And that's when they decide, we don't like living tight. We don't like living paycheck to paycheck. We don't like feeling like we're stretched to the max. We need a little margin in our life. We need a little excess, a little room. We want to take a vacation every 6 months. We want to do some fun things with the family. So they decide to not only put the $150 back into their budget, they're going to add another $250 with it. So they're putting $400 a month back into their budget. That's $4,800 for the year that they can use to just play and do what they want and have a little bit of fun with the family. And they're still going to be out of debt in 8.5 years. Think about that, friends. You can literally decide what your financial future looks like based on how you manage your money with the MoneyMax prompting you and guiding you, and how many other people you want to help. Now, Brad and Cindy are pretty excited about things at this point. They're comfortable with 8.5 years. It's going to save them $360,000. And then at the end of December, right around Christmas, Cindy loses her job. She didn't see it coming. She had no idea where she worked, just laid off a whole bunch of people. She was one of them. She lost her job. And that's when Cindy decided, well, I don't have a choice. I've got to take my income out of the picture, no longer have that income to count on. Look what the MoneyMax tells them. She was really upset losing her job until she put that or took her income out and looked at the dashboard and it said, guys, yeah, your expenses are going to exceed your available funds, but not until June the 1st of 2026. Friends, I know we're in July of 2026. I understand that, but they began in September of 2023. And when she lost her job, it was December of 2023. And what that is telling her is that you're going to be okay for 30 months. You're not going to run out of money for 2.5 years. Do you know what peace of mind that gave Cindy? It gave her so much peace of mind and clarity that that's when she went back to Brad and said, honey, I am not going to go back to corporate America. It's crazy. I spend an hour in the morning commuting to work. That's a job I really didn't like that much anyway. I spend an hour commuting home every day. It's 10 hours a day. For what? So that I can get laid off again? No. She says, I'm not going back to corporate America. I'm going to create and build a United Financial Freedom Agency, and I can help more people than just one family a month. And Brad says, honey, I love that idea. She says, I think I can go out and help 3, 4, 5 families every week. I know a lot of people that just got laid off, right? So Brad says, okay, but be conservative, just really be conservative. She decides to project $3,000 a week income. And you'll see when we cover the comp plan in a moment, that's really not a lot of activity. That's really only helping 2 or maybe 3 families a week. So it's not a lot of activity, very conservative. With that $3,000 a week income for Cindy, Brad and Cindy are going to be debt free, own their home free and clear in 3.5 years. Friends, we mentioned that you can get back to the person that invited you and ask them to run your savings report. Well, this is what Brad and Cindy's savings report would have looked like at that point in time. Instead of paying the bank 30 years of debt payments and paying them $492,000 of interest, which, by the way, 2.7 years of their entire income, crazy, crazy, crazy amount of interest. It brings it down to just 50,000. Do you see that real effective interest rate now with the Money Max? That's the same savings as if they were able to go to the bank and get a loan for everything that they owed and get it at 0.69%. Friends, you and I can't do that. It's not available, but it works and it comes out that way mathematically with the Money Max for Brad and Cindy. 3.5 years, by the time they're 38 years old, they are debt free. That's only 42 more payments for them, and they're done. They own their home free and clear. Now, here's the best part. Not only are they saving $442,000 of interest they otherwise would have paid the banks and the lenders, they're saving 26 and a half years. What can they do with that money over 26 and a half years? Well, I already showed you. You can get a 4% return at Vio Bank right now on a high yield savings account. But I want to be conservative because people see this and they think, oh, this is too good to be true. So I want to be conservative here for a moment. Even if they only got a 1% return and they were able to put all of that money to work for them that they were paying the bank, do you know at the end of that 30-year journey that the bank would have had them on? They'll have $4.7 million for retirement. That's just 1% return. What could they actually have in reality? Friends, if you're still paying the bank the old way, you need to look at the new way. And the new way is the Money Max. Now, here's the most exciting thing I'm going to share with you, and then we're going to move on. Where are Brad and Cindy at right now, today? They're debt free. This is their dashboard. They're debt free. And they've already saved $484,713. And you're going to say, wait a minute, Lynn, I just saw a couple of slides ago that they're not going to be debt free until February of next year. How are they debt free already? Because with United Financial Freedom, your income does not stay stagnant. It goes up. You're going to have the opportunity to build an agency with United Financial Freedom. That's why you were invited here today. We wanted to show you not just what the Money Max can do, we wanted to show you how building an agency and helping other people is going to explode your results in a very good way. So how did this happen for Brad and Cindy? Well, Brad no longer works at his job. He's already left that job and he's working with Cindy. They're working together as a couple with United Financial Freedom. And look at their current income. It didn't stay at $3,000 a week, did it? No, it went up. And there's monthly bonus money in there too. Not only are they debt free, they've already switched from that high yield savings account over to the high cash value life contract. Why? Because they're using the same dollar twice. And they've already got $62,000 accumulated towards their retirement. Friends, in a short period of time, relatively speaking, they accomplished the seemingly impossible. And here's what I want you to understand. They're not some super couple. They're an average American family. Average American family who simply made the decision, we're going to get serious about our financial future. We're tired of paying the bank all of that money and interest. You see, friends, MoneyMax is a lot more than just debt payoff. It's precision budgeting, it's tracking, it's precision cash flow management, forecasting. You've got the ability to put something in that you want to maybe do a kitchen remodel or a swimming pool in the backyard, and it's going to tell you what the true cost of doing that really is. It's going to give you the ability to choose exactly what your financial future will be based on how you manage your money and based on how many people you help. It's going to give you the opportunity to substantially increase your income, plus the opportunity to build wealth using the same dollar twice. And by the way, when you do that the way we do it, it becomes tax advantaged, which is the legal word for tax free, and it's risk free. We don't play the market risk game where you can lose your retirement. This is risk free. And by the way, MoneyMax is guaranteed. When we run a savings report for you and show you what it'll do, it's guaranteed. Marty, I'm going to let you take this slide for a moment. I'll grab some coffee and then we'll show everybody how they can make $1,000 a day or more.
Yeah, so this is what I've experienced myself, and as we help clients, and this is what this program is doing for people. We're not giving people what we think they want. We're giving them what they didn't even know was possible for their finances, and they're seeing exactly how to fulfill their financial potential. And when you're a little kid, everyone says, "What do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to do?" And no goal is too big, right? Have a big dream. And then you get to a certain age, and they're like, "Well, we should probably be realistic." And most of us have shut down our ability to dream and really see fulfilled what we think is possible. And so I hope that some of the light bulbs went on for you or someone that you know. Maybe you're a professional considering how this might help your clients. We've partnered with a lot of licensed life insurance agents, realtors, lenders, real estate investors, CPAs, financial advisors, you name it, stay-at-home moms, homeschool moms. We need a big army to get the word out so that Americans can stop struggling and actually reach their potential. So we're excited to share with you the business opportunity. I've been very entrepreneurial myself. I've done a lot of different things. I was a homeschool mom who did all the things. And I wish I had known that there was not only a program like this that made such a difference for people's actual life circumstances and their families and their generational contribution, but also had a comp plan that was so worth my time investing as a business owner. And so you'll want to see the screen for this, and everything Lynn is saying is tested and proven here. So thank you that you're here today.
It is tested and proven, and you're right. We have to be legally compliant. We're governed by all of the legalities of the financial world in every state. So everything that you've seen is real. Everything that you're about to see is real. This is true. Friends, we have an independent agency model business opportunity and compensation plan. And maybe you've never heard about an agency model system. Maybe that's foreign to you and you don't quite understand what that means. Well, have you ever heard of any of these businesses? My guess is that you have, and you've probably done business with many of them. Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Prudential, Remax, State Farm, Allstate, Farmers, Farm Bureau, Edward Jones, Morgan Stanley, New York Life, and there's thousands more. Friends, there's agency model business systems in place right now in America that are in not only real estate and insurance, but also medicine, the healthcare industry, and law. Did you know that there's agency businesses in law out there? They exist. What is an agency model system or an agency model business? Well, very simply put, it's a business model where you can create or build an agency. Just like if I'm a brand new real estate agent with, let's just say, Coldwell Banker, or I'm a brand new insurance agent at Farmers, and I get in there and I work hard and I get some clients, what's going to happen? I'm going to have the opportunity to move up and become the broker. And as the broker of those agencies, now what can I do? I can bring in other agents. I can help them. I can train them. I can support them. And I'm going to make an override based on what they do. I'm going to help them succeed. And then I get rewarded by earning money above and beyond their contract. Friends, that's an agency system. Now, those systems that I just shared with you, those businesses would all charge anywhere from $10,000 to as much as $40,000, $50,000 just to get started and just to get the name. I used to sell franchises for a living. I know. I sold a very well-known real estate franchise for quite a while, and the lowest that people could even consider becoming a franchisee with the one I represented was 25 grand. And normally it was around 100 and 150 grand just to get the name and have the opportunity to open the door. Friends, United Financial Freedom said, nope, we're not going to charge people outrageous fees just to use the name. We're going to create a franchise agency model system where people can start for 199 bucks. And we're not going to limit their territories. We're not going to limit the income. There's no license required to get started. Now, if you do choose to take part of the wealth side of things, you will need to get your license and we'll help you with that process. But there's no license to get started to help people get out of debt. It's a national opportunity, and they have automated commission increases and automated rank promotions. And there's 6 different ways here that you can earn money. Friends, I'm not going to go into all of them, but each and every one of these ways is very, very, very lucrative. I'm just going to show you the basics because we're running out of time and we need to hurry here this morning. So let me just show you the basics. Friends, when you come into this as a brand new training associate and your head's spinning and you still don't understand what you're doing, you might not even understand what you're supposed to say to people to get them interested. That's okay, because guess what? We're going to assign you with a certified field trainer. The certified field trainer is going to do 99% of the heavy lifting. You're just going to invite people to take a look at what we do and then get them lined up with your certified field trainer who will do the free savings report, a demo, show them how it works, answer all the questions, and help them get started. And you're just observing, you're learning, and you're still going to make an average of $610 for every client. Once you've made 4 training sales, you get advanced to associate, your contract goes up. Once you've made about 5 sales, and this is approximate, it's based on sales volume. Again, you're going to get promoted, your contract level goes up, and so on and so on. Marty, we have a really exciting program right now that I'd love to have you talk about if you're okay, and that's our fast start option. Would you like to talk about that?
I'd love to, because there's some people on this call today who did complete it and have achieved this. Okay, so this is very doable. And so, an option we have, we don't even make it an option. We just say, welcome to the team. Here's what we're going to do in your first month. Okay, because the new person, they don't know. And we do know. And so, we want to help you be successful right out of the gate. But it's called our Fast Track program. And in your first 30 days, as an agent with us, you have the opportunity of, just by completing 8 qualified appointments. That means you find people with a mortgage or $80,000 of any kind of debt who want to be debt free sooner and save money, and they're currently cash flow positive. Just bring them on a Zoom call with us. Your certified trainer is going to do the presentation, close the sale for you. But just for completing 8 unique client appointments like that, where we complete their analysis, they end up with their free savings report, as Lynn discussed earlier, you get a promotion just for doing that. Okay, and so that's a promotion right up to senior associate, the 3rd line on the screen there. And then from those 8 appointments, the whole point of the 8 appointments is that it's the right income producing activities to feed your business so that you can reach the next goal, which is our fast track to director. So in those same 30 days, we are aiming to help you close 4 of those sales and help you recruit 3 new agents. And that's going to accelerate the growth of your business even faster because now you'll have new team members doing the same thing that you've just done. And that's a promotion to director. And so look at that. Inside of 30 days, we tell people you can do this in a week, right, Steve? We can do this in a week. If people are intentional and determined, I think Steve had someone do it in a week, so that's why I picked on him. But that's all it takes, and then you can be making about $1,500 for every client that you help. And when you combine that with using your own MoneyMax account, what happens? Well, we could introduce you here to a number of agents in our company who've paid off brand new mortgages in 2.5 years. So it's pretty exciting to combine those two things. And if you are considering the business opportunity today, get back with the person who invited you. We like to interview you, get to know your goals and dreams, and make sure this is a good fit for you. But we're excited to work with people who just care about doing what's best for the client so we can help more people.
Thank you, Marty. Appreciate that very much. I love that fast track option. Absolutely love that. Because, friends, we recognize that you need to make money fast. You need to get your business off the ground and a fast start. And I just love that, going from training associate all the way up to potentially director within your first month. That's so fun and exciting. And it continues to build from there as you help more families. You can continue to get promoted up through the ranks. The next thing I want to share with you, friends, if you'll notice, there's a difference at every contract level, obviously. And the difference between each of these contract levels is called spread, or the difference. So for an example, if I'm the executive director and Marty's a director on my team and she makes a sale, she's going to get $1,500. Well, the difference of almost $600, the difference between Marty and me, that's mine. That's spread. That comes to me if there's nobody between us. Or if there is, then they're going to get their piece and they get their piece, and etc. So it's really based on everybody wins. Now, here's why I want to introduce you to the spread. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you're an executive director, and by the way, you could get there within about 60 to 90 days. That's very achievable. So let's say that once you're an executive director, I'm going to be conservative again. Let's say that you've just got 5 agents in your agency. So you've got 1 associate, 1 senior associate, 1 director, 1 senior director, and 1 managing director. You've got 5 agents in your agency. You're the executive director, equivalent to the broker. If you each went out and helped 1 family a week, your income is $49.50 a week. Do you see why I said for Cindy to make $3,000 a week was pretty conservative? Friends, that's over $250,000 a year. Now, if you each push a little bit and you help 2 families a week, your income is over $500,000 a year. Friends, I have personally made over $1.2 million in a single year with this company. It's achievable. I'm not bragging on me. I'll point to God and give him all the praise, honor, and glory. But we've helped a lot of people. It's achievable. You can do whatever you want. And that's just the beginning, because once you create an executive director in your team, so I'll use myself as an example. I'm an executive director. Marty is working hard. She creates her own team within my team, and she becomes an executive director. Well, now she's essentially her own broker. She's essentially her own franchise, her own agency, and she's got her agents in her team. Well, if anybody inside of Marty's team, I don't know where I got Margie from, I apologize. Anybody inside Marty's team goes out and makes a sale, I get $270, and it wasn't even involved. Friends, we're going to compensate you 6 levels of agencies, not 6 levels of people, 6 generations or 6 levels of agencies. think about how powerful that becomes. And there's monthly bonus pool money that we kind of touched on and talked about briefly. You can get into the monthly pool month one. It's really not that hard to achieve, and that can be an extra 3, 4, $500 just to get into that pool right off the bat. So I don't want you to think, oh my goodness, this is going to cost me so much money. No, friends, no. We're going to teach you how to leverage the bank's money to get started. You're not even going to have to take any money out of your pocket, especially if you have good credit. We can help you leverage the bank's money to start with zero down. You can put that on a credit card and become an agent for the $199, and even buying the program yourself so that you've got your testimonial. Friends, that's the best tool you'll have in this business, is what the program is going to do for you. Very powerful. That's your testimonial. Here's what it's doing for me. You want to see how I'm doing it? Very powerful. You can get into that for as little as zero down and about $149 a month. Go out and start helping people. You're going to make several $1,000s before your first payment comes due. Friends, we're not here to take money out of your pocket. We're here to put money in your pocket. So just imagine how different your life can look a week from now, a month from now, a year from now. Obviously, there's no specific income guaranteed or promised. Your results are dependent upon your efforts and your team's efforts, but this is the real deal. I love what Zig Ziglar said, one of the most successful salespeople of all time. He said, you can have everything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. Friends, what do people want? They want more income and they want to get out of debt. And we've got the solution. So I want to wrap it up by inviting you to get back the person that invited you to this presentation today. And just so you know, we'll notice, friends, if you're already an agent or if you're going to become an agent beginning next week, this presentation is going to be on a different Zoom link. That's starting next Tuesday morning. So I want to make everybody aware of that. Randy or Jean, you've got your hand up. Feel free to jump in.
I just wanted to say thank you so very much for doing what you do. And I love the Money Max and the wealth side of it. It's amazing also.
Thank you, Jean. Appreciate that. Thank you for sharing. Steve Bishop, if you're still on here, would you like to jump in and share what you and your team is doing?
Yes, sir, Lynn. Thanks so much. Well, first of all, my wife Sue and I are co-executive directors with our great company, but we first was introduced to the MMA way back in November 2008. We purchased the program back then, have not paid another cent. But last night, we had a brand new client. We were setting her up on her Wizard before her coaching call today. So when someone becomes a client of us, we basically want to set their program up with Wizard and then before their coaching call, because we want them to be very proficient in that. But anyway, Lynn, she was very surprised. She had 28 years and 3 months left on her mortgage. We have her mortgage and debt free in 3.9 years, saved her $328,329 of interest. Now, the other thing is at 11:32, I get a text from her. She says, "Good morning, Steve. This is blank. I have a person who's interested. What is the looming for the weekly meetings, or should she start with meeting with you first?" Well, guess what? We have two positions. One is an agent, which really is really what you want. But also we have an affiliate position, which basically you say, hey, listen, I don't mind giving you referrals, but when that happens, when you refer someone to your person that actually has helped you, then basically our company, when that referral becomes a client, our company will deposit into your account $500. Now, guess what? But guess what I told her? I said, listen, I'll talk to you later, because number one, I want this client to be rewarded for the referral. So folks, we have a tremendous opportunity. Lynn, I could go on and tell you about the many clients that are now mortgage and debt free. But the question is this: when are you going to take a step to change your life? And guess what? This is one, and I really believe it's not more than a business. It's really, truly a ministry. Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it very much. Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Gene, and thank you all for being here this morning. We're going to wrap it up and bail because we've got another meeting to get on to. So thank you. God bless. Take care. Make sure you get back to the person that invited you and say yes. Get started today. You won't regret it. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.